All right, just 7 weeks ago today, everything back here that's green grass was nothing but solid red dirt left over from constructing our house. I used ChatGPT and other AI software to help me figure out how to prep it, what fertilizer to use, what grass seed, square footage, everything that I needed to plant this grass. And today we're going to do a 7-week update on this, starting with week 1. Before we get into the week 1 update, I'll give you a really high-level recap of what we did here, and then we'll go straight to the week 1 and following week updates, ending right here at the 7-week update with what did work, what didn't work, and things I might have wished I would have done differently. So like I said, this was all red dirt from the construction of our house, and here we're using the tractor and tiller to bust through this hard layer of soil before we're applying our topsoil. We then used the skid steer to spread the topsoil that was originally stripped from this area during construction. We spread that at 1 to 2 inches thick and mixed in with the layer of soil that was already here before applying our fertilizer and lime to the area. From there, we applied Bermuda grass seed and then set up a sprinkler system with timers to allow us to keep the area watered. Before we get to the week 7 and final update, let's go week by week, starting with week 1 on how this lawn progressed. All right, week 1 update, and you can see everything is still wet. I have not ran the sprinklers but 1 day since that last video, the part 1 video. It has been wild. It's actually been 9 days since we planted, and 7 of those 9 days it has rained multiple hours every day. It has just been crazy weather here. But I did ask Chad about the rain, and it said as long as it's staying warm, as long as it's getting the rain, it's fine. It doesn't need the sunshine, because to be honest with you, we like Kid Rock over here. I ain't seen the sunshine in 3 damn days, except for more like 7 days. So with all this rain, everything is still smushy out here, but you see we had just a little bit of washing kind of come through here where it was really flat out, and it did kind of deposit some of the lime, but there's also a big green patch right here where it deposited probably a lot of the grass seed that was over here. So we'll probably have a little bit of overseeding to do once this all kind of blankets up. We'll be able to see our thin spots and go through and overseed those. So like I said, I asked chat when I would start seeing results, and it said 7 to 9 days, and hopefully you can see these little green sprouts everywhere coming up. It's you know, this isn't exactly the best camera for this. I know it's not much to look at, but they're amongst all the gravel and twigs and sticks and everything else that settled out of this topsoil. There is little green furs coming up through there. But that's going to be it for your week 1 update. Stick around another 7 days, we'll have a week 2 update, which for you will be just a few seconds. All right, week 2 update. As you can tell, more rain. It has literally rained for 2 weeks solid here. It's just been wild, which I'm thankful my water bill maybe won't be as miserable to pay. But weather update aside, it's there's green coming, right? It's not exactly filling in, but you know, there's some pretty big patches. I will say right through here is where water likes to wash through. I gotta do a little bit of drainage on the side of the driveway, but that's another day. And right through there where that water washed through, there's very little, if any, sprouts. There's a couple little tiny ones, but it's pretty scarce. Up through here, there's actually a lot of sprouts. They kind of got tracked into rows where the tractor was going through, but you know, I feel like those will actually grow together and fill in, at least according to chat. With the Bermuda grass, it's gonna, you know, grow and close in. They said really don't worry about it being patchy until after 2 or 3 times mowing it. Then after that, you can go through and overseed a few bare spots if you need to. So I'm hopeful that these sprouts will all kind of spread and everything, especially once it gets a little bit of length to it and I can mow it. I mean, you can see a couple of spots here where it's like really dense. But even out there where it just looks completely bare on camera, I can see green sprouts coming up. So, and over there where we just were and it looks very bare, there's green sprouts coming up. So I'm trying to stay very positive, very hopeful that with some sunshine, which we're supposed to get the rest of this week, a little bit more water, we'll have some green grass growing. Here's kind of a close-up of some of these sprouts coming up. where they're coming up at. They're coming up pretty, you know, they're definitely there, right? But that's about all the yapping I can do for week 2. Still not a ton to look at. Hopefully week 3 will be a totally different story. All right, week 3 update. I think 3rd week anyways. As you can see by the weather, the rain has returned. Not complaining, haven't ran my sprinklers hardly any through this whole process, but I'm starting to wonder if it's like too much rain for it. You know, we've had a little issue with it washing the seed away, and I'm kind of scared to overseed anything because I feel like it's just going to get washed away again. But let's check out the progress and just let you see how it's going for week 3. So still patchy in places, but man, it is really filling in right through here, and then on around the side and the back of the house. I could mow the back of the house right now, but you know, I'm still trusting the process. Chat says a lot of this stuff will still fill in, especially after the first time it's mowed. It just says not to worry about doing any overseeding until after the first time I mow it. So I'm gonna try to trust the process. But you can see right here is where the seed has washed a bit, and that, you know, that's like the main area. I'm gonna take a rake and scratch and overseed, do a little work there. I feel like, just based off what chat tells me, that this stuff will fill in. You know, maybe I have to do a little seeding here and there, but I know it just looks like patches of grass, but you know, in my mind I can see a nice green yard here, and that's what I'm working with. This is the view from the side. Like I said, it looks patchy and streaky, but I'm really just trusting chat's advice on this and trying not to fret it. You know, it says week 5 I should be mowing. It's week 3. I think next week I could mow some of this, honestly, if the rain will let out. And there's a good length. I would say it's probably, you know, I don't know, finger length, maybe 4 inches or so already, maybe 3 inches. But supposedly this stuff will kind of, you know, start shooting out and going outwards instead of upwards. So, but anyways, I guess that's it for week 3. See you on week 4. Maybe we'll be mowing by then. All right, week 4 update, big update. Doing some mowing today. Check out how much we have grown. Now, like I feel like I've said every week during this thing, we have just had an unbelievable amount of rain. I've ran the sprinklers maybe 7 times, maybe 7 or 8 days. But my pocketbook's gonna be perfectly fine with that, and so is this grass. Let's check all that out. Just look at that length. I've waited too long to mow this, but it's because we've been getting such heavy rains, and even today, if we did get a light shower just a few hours ago, but I'm gonna try to get through it all. I'm gonna mow it as high as possible and hope for the best. I know I'm probably gonna be taking off more than 1/3 of the length, but we're just gonna hope for the best there. Still got a little bit of patchiness here. This will grow in. I know it will once we start mowing. This here, probably not so much because there is a tree here. It gets a little bit of extra shade. So maybe, I mean, you can see some sprouts started, but all this right here will definitely grow in. We're nearly there, guys. Maybe another 3 or 4 weeks and this will look crazy out here compared to how we started anyways. But speaking of mowing, let's cut to the catchy music and time lapse and get that knocked out, and then we'll wrap it up with a cost breakdown at the end of the video. All right, and that wraps us up here at week 7. As you can see, a lot of stuff has filled in. A lot of spots still need a little work filling in, right? I mean, you can still see right here, it's got a few bare spots that'll fill in. There's a couple bare spots out there that I've overseeded, but for the most part, it has filled in very nicely. Now, I have started mowing this, and I've mowed it probably 4 to 5 times at this point, which supposedly will help that filling in growth, that kind of spreading growth. And I definitely feel like I've seen a difference since I've started mowing it. Now, we're also in the middle of a heat wave, if you can't tell, It's about 95 degrees out and it's been well in the 90s all week. But the Bermuda grass is holding up decent to the heat, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So when it comes to chat's recommendations on everything, I don't really have any complaints. The only thing that I wish I would have done differently is that I wish I would have spent more time on the skid steer leveling the yard. I guess I kind of underestimated how it was all going to turn out in the long run. I probably would have spent a little more time working that to try to get it more flat. As you can see, we kind of got some little bumps here and there, but that stuff really don't bother me that much. It's just one of those, you know, if I could go back, that's probably something I'd spend more time on. Otherwise, the seed coverage, fertilizer amount, everything has seemed to really work out really well in this application. But outside of that, we're going to cover cost in a different video. I'd originally recorded it all as one video, and I got the feeling like it was going to be an hour-and-a-half video, and I didn't want to make you suffer through that. So that's probably going to wrap up this week 7 update on the lawn. Lean on chat. Tell it where you live. Tell it, you know, what you're trying to accomplish. You know, whether you got sprinklers, don't plan on sprinklers. You know, if you got good topsoil, if you don't got good topsoil, tell it all that stuff and let it build you a plan, or at least give you some options and guidance there. Otherwise, if you got any questions on what we've done here, you can drop that in the comment section, and I'll be sure to get to those in a timely manner. Outside of that, I appreciate you guys listening to me ramble on about my grass. I feel like a proud dad here talking about my grass. But outside of that, I appreciate you guys interacting with the video. Thumbs up, comment, sharing, anything you can do to interact with the video helps out small YouTube channels like myself a ton. So I appreciate that. And outside of that, I'll see you guys on the next video.